Good thing you got some of that Nama water to
keeping us hydrated all night long.
Exactly.
Nama water, absolutely.
Rose is making sure that we're hydrated.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, Jeff. So exciting to be back.
Dude.
JCI 2 was wild. Buddy, there's plenty of it to go around. Rose hooked it up. JCI 1 and 2 was absolutely insane. But you guys really outdid yourselves here tonight. We have an unbelievable card. So let's just talk about it.
Yeah, I'm ready to talk about it. We have 2 female title fights. The first one is Taylor Meredith from RMMA taking on Paige Maz from Black Lion. And I just was I happened to be in the crowd a couple weeks ago at the Chicago Open, and I helped coach Paige because, she didn't have a coach there. And I'm good friends with her instructors. So, man, she just tore it up, and she double medaled. She took a silver in the gi division and a gold in the no gi. And Taylor had a fight of the night on JCI 2, and she also just took a gold medal at the ADCC LA Open last weekend, or a weekend or 2 ago. So that match alone, they're just kind of on a good collision course, and I don't think they would have met in anything else because Paige usually favors IBJJF. Taylor does more of the ADCC rule set. So here you kind of have the meeting of those 2 organizations in a sense because I don't think either of them really venture out much into the other rule sets.
Interesting. So we could go into the specific matchups, but let's talk about that in specific. Was that the original goal to create a platform that would be welcoming to someone from any rule set, be it IBJJF or ADCC, or did that just kind of happen organically?
I think the only other way to do it is through MMA or back in the day, no holds barred matches, where I feel like if you're a jiu-jitsu person, you need to be able to compete in any rule set. You should actually be comfortable defending punches and all the self-defense kind of stuff as well. But put that aside, when it comes to grappling, you shouldn't favor one rule set too much. You should be like, hey, my jiu-jitsu is good without rules. Old school guys like Pedro Sauer, you ask him, like, is this legal in IBJJF? Back in the day, he'd be like, it works. What do you mean, legal or illegal, So I think that submission-only grappling tournaments or match super fights like this and all the other guys just allows people to not have restrictions on their ability to finish people.
Excellent. And you have fighters coming in, obviously, from all over, Jeff, as obviously you kind of put the grappling community on notice with your first 2 events. But you also have a lot of lineage overlapping tonight. You have some students facing maybe former students, and students facing friends, and friends facing friends. So let's talk a little bit about the dynamic that creates and how you'd advise these athletes to go out there and still put their best foot forward.
Well, when you're not punching each other, you battle in the gym every day in jiu-jitsu with your peers and your friends, and like my sons Ty and Jacob, they are killing each other every day on the mat, and they're brothers. So it's like I think it's a safe place to go see who's better that night. But the overlapping of lineage, and the reason for that is, like, my reach is obviously going to be a Pedro Sauer connections that I've made over the years. Of course, friends and MMA, and I try to get outside of there as much as possible. But, I'm actually trying to encourage people throughout, like, our association and through my team, like, that don't compete regularly. Like, you're too good to be just sitting on the sidelines. You got to get out there and go after it a little bit. And that's brought some of the overlap. But ultimately you have my 30-some years with Pedro Sauer, where I'm going to know people in that line. But yeah, it's crazy to see all of it. I know friends are fighting friends, and people that have trained together are fighting each other again. But it wasn't by design. It just kind of happened. Like, this person deserves the shot, and that person happens to be in the same spot.
Fair enough. And with kind of, like I said, the grappling community coming, kind of bringing their eyes on your event, does that as you see the growth, obviously that was what you hoped for. Does the mission or does your overall view of the event change at all as we approach JCI 3?
I feel probably more comfortable than ever that regardless of what you're doing in this sport or that sport, I want the people that are winning in my show to get the chance to maybe fight for a title or get the match that might get them a fight for the title. Because, and of course, maybe the champion needs a challenger that we have to pull that, won medals and other things and other titles and stuff like that. So a little bit in the matchmaking side, but my mission is the same. I'm trying to do something that favors the athlete, is fair, a fair spectrum of competition and matchmaking and all of that. Total transparency. There's none of this like, hey, don't worry, you can beat this guy. Just, go mess it. In MMA, it got dirty like that at times with people, and I don't want to be a part of that. And on Monday, I added my guy Mike Hall to the card. I said, dude, you're 26 years old. He just got his purple belt, but he's been training for like 9 years. He's phenomenal, and he hasn't competed since white belt. And he's one of those guys. You got to do it. So he's fighting one of the Aguirre brothers who are so seasoned. And I'm like, step up. I don't care if you win. What I care is that you put it out there. And he is, and he's going to do great. But I'm not trying to buy anybody a win, and I'm not trying to give everybody an easy path. I want my students and I want everybody else that comes here to know that like it's level playing field. Everybody's got a good chance to win.
Love that.
So the growth from the first event to now has been absolutely incredible to watch and be a part of. Every card somehow feels bigger and more polished. I wanted to ask you specifically about the title for this one, though, the Dominion. Why is that the right name for JCI 3, and what does it represent to the promotion right now?
Well, the Dominion is kind of like, I don't know the actual definition of it, but when I was doing some research and trying to figure out like a trajectory plan that kind of has the title, because remember, like UFC was like this, and eventually it was just like the explosion. It got really generic, like
we're to numbers now.
So at this point, this kind of the Dominion caps off the beginning, the middle, and the end. The beginning, the rise, and now the like, hey, we're through it, and we're taking this to the next level. And like the September card that's going to come up, September 19th, this is going to be titled after the main event. So it'll move towards, for generic purposes, Curran versus Smith or whatever. Like I'm going to get away from, it'll be JCI 4, Curran versus Smith, JCI 5, Deal versus Thompson. Like I'm getting away from that line, but I think it was important in the beginning because that initial one was just like the inception, and I think it said everything it needed to. The ascension was like we're climbing, and now the Dominion is like we've plateaued up top, and we're going to continue on and keep trying to grow from there. So that was my take on it, but it couldn't go any further. I think the word choices for me were going to start getting pretty thin if I tried to stay in that in that realm. But
that's fair enough.
But that's a good question. That no one's ever asked me that, so I wish I was more prepared for it. But that was my stake on this. Was like 3 or 4 shows are going to be named in this same family of like thought, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of nice to go over this naturally and see you talk about how it kind of evolved, because realistically the way you described it from, obviously we're involved in the show, but we're also fans of it, and it's clear that that's exactly what happened. It was the trajectory to where we are now, to where we are officially established. Indeed, the Dominion tonight, JCI 3. Boss man, I know you're getting yanked a million which ways. Any final bubble gut feelings going in right before we get the ball rolling?
No, I mean, I'm really excited to have Rose here, and I was going to see if we had a little time to, put her on and talk a little bit, because I had a really big plan for tonight, and I don't want to spoil it, but I had a plan for tonight for Rose, and I had a plan for Jessica and a few other of my friends that are coming in the crowd. Like, I really respect fighters that use jiu-jitsu even in the modern world of MMA, because it's so tough. There's other routes. You know, you could go for the knockout and you could swing for the fences and maybe win, maybe lose, but everyone's going to love you and you're going to get a fight of the night, or you're going to get a knockout of the night, or you're going to be a highlight reel for someone or whatever. But to stay true to a grappling route and make jiu-jitsu a big part of your fighting game, Rose does that. And obviously Jessica always does that. And, you know, black belt yourself, you put the art in front and it's part of your style. You don't try to just forget about it. And Rose, although she's well-rounded and a great fighter everywhere, she's always displayed great jiu-jitsu. And I like the fact that, you know, she's partnering up with me and we're trying to promote her company and her water company and her mission there, and that she, you know, flew out here and took the time to come and meet fans and hang out. And, you know, she could be sitting back riding her wave that she's created for herself, but she's out here working like us, and, you know, we're all doing our thing. So I want to bring her on and talk with you guys a little bit maybe and get her take on because I have no idea. I've never talked to her about what's her take on submission grappling and, you know, this kind of rule set and her experience being here short-lived so far, but with JCI coming up, and go from there. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, head out there and find us, Rose.
Yeah.
Send her over to the booth. We'll have a chat with her. And
I see her.
Oh, we're waving her in. We're waving in the former UFC World Champion.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks again, Jeff. Such an honor.
Guys. Appreciate you
The
guys.
boss man, the legend, the UFC pride, all up and down legend that is Jeff the Big Frog Curran. And with that, joining us in the booth, a pleasure and an honor.
Hello.
Hello.
Of course, we have here the Ultimate Fighter Season 20 winner, multiple-time UFC World Champion, and truly one of the GOATs of female mixed martial arts, Rose Namajunas. Such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us, friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hey, Jessica.
Hey.
You couldn't be joining us for a bigger night of action. Before you jumped in the booth, we were talking about we got 5 titles online, 2 of which are the ladies' belts up for grabs. And so exciting for me and the friends at home. I got 2 pioneers of women's MMA, you know, on either side of me.
Yes.
2 competitors from a very pivotal season 20 of The Ultimate Fighter. Jessica's got to be kind of cool to be reunited with Rose underneath this banner, huh?
No, it really is. I mean, we were in Invicta together. We were in the Ultimate Fighter House together. We were, you know, part of the movement of women that were really fighting for opportunities and trying to prove that women, like, deserve to be on these platforms. And it makes me so happy and grateful to be a part of the history, to be where it is now. And it also is just so exciting because I don't think I really could have imagined where the sport would go for us.
Absolutely. You made me cry. Yeah, no, it's cool. It's a full circle moment, and you just got to keep going wherever it takes you, you know. And I feel like it's just such a blessing to be here and to just, you know, still see each other's faces and familiar faces, new faces, and just see the new talent coming up as well.
Now, before you jumped on, Jeff was talking about, like, one of the reasons that he respects you guys for a multitude of reasons, but one of the things he loves is the fact that you're never afraid to put jiu-jitsu forward and, you know, go out there and fly the jiu-jitsu flag, you know, even underneath the pressures of the UFC or the bright lights of MMA. So why don't we talk about that a little bit as now you step in, take a look at this different rule set. I know you've competed in submission grappling in the past yourself. What are your thoughts on JCI and the whole submission grappling rule set?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jeff and just everything that he's doing. You know, it's just you can when you dedicate your life to martial arts, you know, whether it be MMA, whether it be jiu-jitsu or kickboxing, or just any of like the true martial arts, you can recognize another true martial artist, and that's Jeff, and that's everything that he's doing here. And so just the lineage and everything with like Pedro Sauer and everything like that, I just know it's all legit, and I'm really excited to just see you know, how the serious talent that's going to be up here tonight. And you know, jiu-jitsu, I love all, you know, martial arts, but jiu-jitsu's definitely got a special place in my heart. I just feel like it's a great, I feel like it's one of the best martial arts, well-rounded, like overall, just, you know, you don't have to necessarily, you can use technique to out, you know, do strength and skill and stuff like that. So it's just a full package.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, this question's kind of for both of you, and you already touched on it a little bit. let's kick it back to those Invicta days, right? Or like, the heyday when those opportunities were much more limited. And it was really about the love of the game, because you're really just, Dana White's out there saying things like the women will never be in the UFC, but you guys are still out there doing the damn thing. So when you thought about the future and what potentially was in store, did either of you guys picture something like this?
For me, no. I knew that I loved what I was doing, and that was good enough for me. I really didn't imagine or even kind of dare to dream, to be honest, because we had been told no, no, no. But I think that the effort that everybody put in, the trailblazers from our generation, just really couldn't be ignored.
Yeah. I think for myself, I think it was slightly a little bit different. I definitely felt like I had some sort of vision. I didn't know what it was going to be. I definitely didn't know I was going to be sitting here like over a decade later just at a table talking. But, I definitely felt some sort of like internal drive that I could do something with this. I didn't know what, and I didn't think it was going to be nearly as fast, so it's just like, yeah, just started going with it. And then Ronda Rousey came in and all these other, Gina Carano and all these other people that I looked up to. And, here we are. And it's a dream come true.
Yeah. I'll talk. You say, may feel like it happened kind of fast, but I'll tell you when you came on my radar, and that was in 2013 when you hit that flying armbar in Invicta.
Yeah.
And I almost knocked myself out in the gym trying to go for it. Like the next day.
I almost knocked myself out in that fight, too.
It's kind of crazy, and I almost said this when Jeff was here. I'm pretty sure I was sitting in his gym trying to do that move, 13 years ago. Now here we are full circle. I'm sitting here with you at the Jeff Kern Invitational.
That's crazy.
So exciting. Now, while I touch on you being a sensational grappler, I know you're recently cleared to start training again after your eye surgery. How's that going?
It's good. It's good. I had a torn canalicular tube or something in my eye, so they put a tube in there. It was in there for 3 months, and I had it taken out, and now I've been training. I have this girl I'm helping, Neely Block. She's making her MMA debut coming up at the end of the month, and so I've just been helping her train and stuff like that, like right off the couch. So it's been tough, but it's been good. And then I also had a thumb surgery. I tore my UCL in my thumb as well, and so that was about the same recovery time as well. So yeah, I've been back in full swing of things in the last couple weeks or so. So it feels good. It sucks to be injured. It sucks that, there's things that you can always do, but you're just like, I don't want to.
Right.
So now it's good to just be healthy and be able to do everything.
Healthy, training, feeling good. I got to ask, what are the chances that we see the great Rose Namajunas on the JCI stage one day?
It's funny because, I'm just sitting here, I just want to train. I'm just seeing this mat. When we were out there, I'm like, I'm getting the...
We have 26 pounds. Can we make it 27?
Yeah, let's go.
Can you get out there?
Let's go.
So much fun. Rose, it's like I said, it's such an honor to sit down with you. Why don't we talk a little bit about what you got going on right now? As you mentioned, you're back to training, but obviously you're keeping us hydrated here with Nama, so why don't we talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, so Nama water, it's obviously, the Namajunas, whatever my name. So, and it's, hydration is one of the most important things, right? Our day surrounds around that, revolves around that. So I don't like water drinking, being hydrated, being a chore. So when I discovered this water and I realized I was drinking the whole can just in one sitting, and it was just so easy to drink. And then I'm like, man, what is in this? And I'm looking, and it's it's got minerals in there. It's got hydrogen in there. And so I started doing the research, and I started realizing oh wow, there's a lot of research behind this that shows that this can help performance, help recovery, and things like that, and help hydration at the cellular level. So I decided I wanted to make it for myself and to put it out there and help other athletes get recovery and stuff like that. And it's kind of it's a higher luxury water experience, so for the ones that really for us who really pay attention to our bodies and try to get the most out of our performance, but ultimately it would be cool to just get water to the rest of the world, because we know that there's water crisis everywhere. And so this is just kind of the foot in the door to try to just get that started and really focus in on these athletes and performance and discipline based lifestyle, and then to just kind of branch out into the rest of the world.
Love it. So amazing, just keeping your eyes always on doing the best for the athletes and potentially branching out to the rest of the world. What a wonderful
Yeah.
gesture and a wonderful product, keeping us hydrated here in the booth. Super
Absolutely.
grateful. Thank you again for joining us. Guys, I think the time might be upon us. I feel the electricity building in here, guys. The fans are pouring in. The fighters are warming up. So that is going to be your cue to buckle up, because when we return, we have an absolutely sensational night of matchups ahead of us. 26 bouts, 5 titles, and we are officially writing the 3rd chapter in JCI history. So for myself, Christian Reynoso, Jessica Penne, and the great Rose Namajunas, that will be it for us here at the pre-show. And we will be back with an incredible night of action here at JCI 3 The Dominion just after the break.